Yo, guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another interview with Budio's Boy Wrestling Fan. Today I'm here with the lovely Joanna Robinson. How's it going today?
It's going good today. It's going good. It's better now. It's much better now.
Should we tell them what happened?
Yeah, sure, why not? I was waiting. I came in all set and ready for this interview. It's getting a little later. It's getting a little later. I'm starting to think that I'm getting stood up. I'm getting stood up. Even in quarantine, I'm getting stood up. Okay? Like, how sad is that? So I'm kind of messaging Donovan and I'm messaging a few other guys like, what is going on? What happened? Like, I'm on time, right? And turns out what happened.
My phone died. I lost track of time. I remember the interview was today. I just forgot what time it was, and my phone died. So it
Okay.
wasn't a great afternoon for me. And
Well, like I said, I was starting to get a little worried because everyone had said that you were pretty punctual. So I'm like, okay, either something happened or I'm getting stood up, and neither of which is good.
at least I know that if I ever go missing in the future, if the future goes missing in the future, I know that the fan roundtable will send an amp alert on me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because that
It was
was, I
pretty.
think I messaged Logan Black first, and then I messaged Don Kincaid. I'm like, what is happening?
What did Logan say? Because I didn't even follow back.
I just messaged him like I know you and Donovan are friends. Is he punctual? Because like we were supposed to start like 10 minutes ago. Like is that normal for him? He's like, no, he's pretty punctual. I'm like, all right, just checking. And then immediately I'm like messaging Kincaid.
Yeah,
Kincaid's got my back always.
I was like, I was nervous. I'm like, is everything like I got a bunch of messages. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Why? Because no one put like, oh, you're supposed to be in an interview. It was, are you okay? And then like missed calls, and then Kincaid and Drinkwater were like, you're supposed to have an interview with Joanna like 20 minutes ago, man, and you were late. And I'm like, oh,
It's okay. Like as long as you're okay, because I've had that. I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's just a quarantine thing, but like my days are so all mixed up and crazy. So it's like, oh, I have this today. I think it's today. What's today again? Like so. As long as you're okay, that is
the funny thing
my
is,
main concern.
behind me is a calendar that I have yet to fill in. It's like an erasable one, and I keep thinking about it, like, oh, I should put like who I'm interviewing at one time on what day. And I have time for it. I just don't feel like doing it because I'm like, I know what time it. Yeah, no. Apparently,
I have I have three planners, and I still make sure that like it's more for like I have to see a therapist now like on my computer, so I'm like, okay, I cannot forget that it's this day at this time. Do I need three planners right now, 2020? No, but at least I know what day it is.
yeah, like this whole entire quarantine is just like, I'm starting to forget what day it is, and just like,
Honestly, I think if it wasn't for wrestling, I wouldn't know what day it is because I'm like, okay, Monday Night Raw, Wednesday NXT, Friday SmackDown. There we go, perfect.
anyway, let's finally get this interview started.
Yes, let's start.
So, how long have you been in the wrestling business? Why?
Oh goodness, I want to say that I've always I've always been a fan of wrestling. I want to say I started watching. Actually, I went to a WrestleMania in Hartford. I want to say it was like WrestleMania 11. I was really young, so I don't really remember. I think that like it was like my dad and my brother, because my grandfather was a boxer, so my mom was into that, and my dad used to watch like Ric Flair and Roddy Piper and all them, so he was a fan. So when they came to Connecticut, they're like, "Come on, let's go," and I was like, "Whatever, let's go," and it was okay. And then a few years later, the Attitude Era popped up, and my brother was watching it pretty religiously. And because at the time there really was only one TV in the house, it was like, well, if Dave's watching it, I guess I'm watching it too. And I just got like sucked in. And I think that you and I had actually talked on a Kincaid roundtable that like, yeah, the wrestling wasn't always so good, but like the storyline and the iconic moments like just sucked you in. And oh, I was in high school around that time. So, I mean, I remember like, oh, I was weird because like I was really good friends with the boys and the girls in my class. So like I could talk, the guys would be like, "Oh my God, did you watch Raw?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I totally watched Raw." And it was, it was the thing that we talked about at our lockers is like, "Did you see what Stone Cold did to Vince and The Rock? And did you see Y2J?" And it was fun. And so I was really, really into it. And then I went to college, and I stopped watching, mostly because I was living with roommates. I couldn't really afford any kind of basic cable. I was going to school. I was doing all kinds of stuff, and wrestling kind of got put to the side. So I kind of forgot about it. And then within the last 10, I think like 10 years ago, I actually started rewatching it. I remember I was just flipping through channels and I'm like, "Hey, isn't that John Cena? Oh, this is wrestling. Oh, I miss this." And just jumped right back in. Around that same time, I was working at Toys R Us. R.I.P. Toys R Us. And we ended up getting a new like sales manager. We had a couple different sales manager, and his name was Eric Newton. And Eric and I became very close friends very quickly. And one of the things that we really bonded on was wrestling. And we were talking all the time about old school wrestling, and he was like, "Oh, I actually have a promotion." At the time, it was called NEFW. And he's like, "You should totally come down and check it out. And you sing the national anthem. We're always looking for somebody to sing. That'd be kind of nice." And I was really hesitant at the time because I had auditioned for national anthems before and didn't get in. So like my self-esteem was kind of low at that point. I also had a boyfriend at the time who was he didn't care for wrestling. He thought that it was kind of a joke, and he wasn't really sure about me being around so many guys. And I said, like, I want to go. I want to go. I want to sing. I want to see what this is about. And I went, and I remember the first show I went to, it was in December, and it had Diamond Dallas Page on it. And I remember showing up, and at the time I didn't know that you're supposed to like say hi to everybody and shake hands. So I'm just standing there like awkwardly like, "Hi, nice to meet you." Like, yeah. And then Eric showed up and I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing." And he's like, "You're fine. Go say hi to everybody. Just introduce yourself. You'll be fine." And by the end of the show, it was like a second home. I just loved being there. I loved everyone who was there. I remember very specifically working with Matthew James. That was the first time I met him. Except that I think they were like, "Go talk to Sweat." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Sweat?" And like, Matt, like I met Matt Sweat. And I'm like, "Oh, okay," because he sweats a lot. And and to this day, I still have to carry a little washcloths because he sweats so much. But I don't know. I think that after that, like I was like, this was so much fun, and I want to come back and I want to keep doing this. And that had to be like 7 years ago. Had to be like 7 years ago. And NEFW turned into RPW. I had people coming in and out as far as wrestlers went, and like the more people that I met, the more people that were like, "Hey, you should come to this promotion and hang out." And, "Oh, you sing the national anthem. You should come sing the national anthem." And it just kind of grew upon that. And I learned, you always shake hands, you always say hi, you always help out. And that's always just kind of stuck with me since then. And I think that that's probably why people keep calling me to come back to shows is to help out, because that is always just retained in my head. But again, like I very, very distinctly remember showing up, being very nervous. After I sung, everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're so good, and we love you." And I'm like, this just feels right. This just feels like home with all these guys. So yeah, it's been like 8 years. It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Now, you're not a pro wrestler. You're an announcer slash national anthem singer. Does anyone ever like just call you, "Oh, that's the national anthem lady"?
I've been called a lot of things, and they're like, "Oh, that's there's the national anthem lady." There's, it's just like I've I've been called mom, because I've kind of become like the locker room mom. I remember there was a time where everybody was calling me like, Mama Moose is here, because I really love Moose. Like I was a mom, or not. I'm not an actual mom, but I was very motherly. So yeah, I mean, like I tend to carry a lot of hats. So you could just kind of call me anything, and I would usually respond.
Now, you're also kind of like, you don't set up the ring, but like you're also kind of in charge of making sure that you collect each person's gear. Am I correct?
Some promotions, yes. I I get very like regimented as far as like whose gear is this, where's it going, what gimmick stays, what doesn't stay. It just has evolved from the longer that I've been there, the more that I've learned. And it just, I'm just somebody that is always willing to help out. So like I just kind of took these roles, like just like I'll do it, why not? And what do you need? You need somebody to do this? All right, I got you. How do I do it? All right, let's go. And it's funny because now people just kind of attribute me to being like the ring girl and an announcer and a national anthem and a mom and like sometimes a security guard. They just kind of it's pretty funny because I remember like I think I've even said that like there have been times where I go to shows just to watch and about 5 minutes later I'm fixing a ring.
What
But that was what I was kind of taught to do is you always stand up and you help out.
what has been the strangest wardrobe accessories that you have brought back to the entrance?
Oh God, what are some weird wardrobes? Um, I remember it's I always like bringing Smart Mark's stuff when he had like the cap and the gown because he would just be taking off so many pieces. Same thing with like when Perry Von Vicious would like rip the pants off
Yeah.
and like fling them at my head. And for whatever reason, I would purposely try to miss and they would always get me in the face. And I'm like, all right, this is a thing. Um, I've never taken Bobby's goat. I've never taken Bobby Jr. Love that goat though. Um, I mean, oh, sometimes the mainstay posse, they have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of big gear. There was one time I felt really bad. I just was overloaded with stuff and I dropped, somebody had a mask, but I didn't realize it, and I dropped it and it like shattered. And I felt so bad. I felt so bad because it's a nice mask and I was like, and they, so they came up to me, they're like, where's my mask? And I'm like, so how much did that cost? And like I immediately replaced it and I apologized and they're like, it's okay. As you see me carrying a lot, like I just am one of those people that like I carry a lot of stuff. I'm not one of those I'm gonna make 6 trips. It's one trip and done. Play that game.
Now, when I was doing my research on you, I found a lot of pictures of Finn Balor. What that? Are you a big fan of him? Are you like the super fan? You a president of the fan club? What?
I'm just a super fan. I don't know. I'm just a big super fan of Finn Balor. I don't know. I remember actually people were sending me because I do a lot of art. People were and I'm into comics. People were sending me a lot of pictures of him when he was still in like New Japan, with the body art, and they're like, check this guy out, and I'm like, whoa, that's hot, awesome. And then he came to NXT and he started doing the, and I knew him from the Demon stuff, and then I was like, all right, this guy's pretty cool. All right, I dig it. And then he, just blew up, and I just hung on to that for dear life. And I don't know, I actually have a bunch of like the best of Fergal Devitt Blu-rays that I've have had time to watch thanks to quarantine. And I don't know, I really like his he moves really well, which sounds so weird to say. But I when I watch wrestling, I'm watching a lot. I am very big on story. I'm also very big on watching the moves and how people move. And I've always just really enjoyed, he's just someone that I've always enjoyed watching move in a ring, which sounds so very strange, but also especially in his younger days, he was just so very smooth, if that makes any sense. And just even, and even now I get my poor father, because of quarantine, he and I have made like a little date night on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to watch wrestling. And anytime Finn comes on the screen, my poor father has that, Dad, it's Finn, it's Finn, it's Finn. Look at him go, there's my prince. And he's just like, okay, that's fine. Takes it very well. But even he agrees. But like, I'm always like, no, you need to watch the man move. I don't know. Everybody's got to have that one that they just really enjoy. And for me, it's Finn. And he's into comics and art. And I'm into comics and art. So it works. Who doesn't love an accent?
It depends on who the person is.
Well said.
Let's see. Now, like you said, people were sending you pictures of Finn Balor. I don't want to know what pictures they were. But
they were PG, I promise. They were.
I'll take your word for it.
PG-13 to like the most.
Sounds like that PG and 13 is gonna head out soon in ours.
Not yet. Not yet.
Now, you said you were into art and you draw a lot. When did you start? You actually created Logan Black's one of his newest logos. How many superstars, indie wrestlers have you made stuff for, logo-wise?
Logo-wise, I know I made one for Big Bacon Brad Hollister. He asked me to make one for him. I had made one for the Sea Stars when they first started. It was just a very cute little anime version of the two of them.
I wish they would come.
I know.
I didn't know how like big they were, and then I think because you're supposed to contact like the booker of like who runs the company if you want someone, and I contacted Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling only to find out it was Cypher, and I was like, can you bring that? And then they're like, they actually started there, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
I remember when they started there. I remember when they were there. I used to sit with Delmy and Juan in the crowd, and I used to like put pictures on my Facebook, and it was called Babysitting 101 because I would sit with them and we would talk. And then Ashley would be backstage, and I think I actually filmed Delmy's first match. I was backstage with her trainer, Dynamite Doug Summers, and I'm like in the curtain, like filming it, like, go baby, I'm so proud of you. And her first match was with Toxis, and I just remember just like, yes, that is one of the things that I love about being here so long, is seeing all these people start, is being, I remember when Skylar, her first match, I was so excited, and I was filming it too. I was so excited, I didn't ring the bell when the match started. I was supposed to ring the bell for the match to start. I was just like, oh, it's Skylar. Oh, right, yeah, ding, 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 go Skylar. I mean, that's my favorite, is seeing these people start, and now look where they all are.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Of course. Family emergency.
No, it was just everyone's outside right now in the backyard. I'm in my garage, and a speaker was just brought into the play. So I'm not trying to get copyrighted for background music. So.
Not yet.
Now, another thing that I've noticed about you is, I didn't research this. I just knew about it because you talked about it on the round table a couple weeks ago. Dan the Man is your favorite wrestler, and how come?
He's not my favorite wrestler. I can't stand Dan the Man. I hate him with like a fiery passion of 1,000 suns. And I hope that he gets coronavirus and I don't have to deal with him.
That's so bad to say. That's wishing death upon someone almost.
I didn't say he had to die. I just hope he's got to be quarantined for like a while and, can't do anything. I didn't say I wanted to die. I just hope that he gets it and horrible things other than death happen. He is just such a jerk. The way that he treats women and thinks that he's better than everybody and just has no respect for anybody. and I don't like that. I don't like bullies. Dan the man is a bully, and I don't like that.
Now, you got your revenge on him one time.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
I did get my revenge. I a few months ago, he had actually choked me out at a show, and he damaged my trachea, which I kind of need my voice. So I was out for a while, and I just was like, freaking Dan. And then Gina messaged me, kind of saying, "Hey, I heard that Dan is looking for handmaidens for this upcoming TOS show. I can probably sneak you in if you're looking to get a little revenge." And I was like, I'm so down for that. I'm so down. Whatever I could do to make Dan lose, I'm down for it. So I got an outfit. I walked into TOS. I actually had like a mask on, and it was like right around the beginning of when the corona. So I'm just like, oh, I just don't want, change my voice. Like, I don't want to get sick. Oh, leave me alone. Just kind of hid in the corner. And just, guys, patience is a virtue, because I just waited for the right time, and I got it when he invited the handmaidens into the ring, and I just nut punch. I knocked his infinity stones into his throat. It was great. I'm sad. I'm really sad that he still won, though, but at least I got my revenge. Always wanted to nut punch somebody.
Well, that's a great thing to say. I'm trying to you guys. I just want to be clear. I try to keep it PG.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I let people swear on this show all the time.
No.
I try not to swear because my mom watches these videos.
Oh. I work with little kids, so like I'm not allowed to swear. So when I have the opportunity to swear, I'm like Jay and Silent Bob.
Funny. Let's see. What else can we talk about? I thought that Dan the Man story was gonna be longer, so I was expecting longer.
No, you know what? I never finished talking about. I honestly, like, as far there was we can go back to. I was doing art. I was actually doing little comics for PvP shows for a while. Just kind of like as a joke, as far as like whatever big was going on. And I had made a couple of them. Unfortunately, they didn't all make it for people to see because things just got so chaotic. And then as far as what recently, I've really kind of only been doing Logan Black. He and I are good friends, obviously. We share a common love of comic books. And he was like, he had come to me saying he had an idea for a shirt, but he didn't know who to ask because it was a comic thing. And obviously, because we talk about comics, he's like, do you think this is something you can do? And I was like, totally. And I think it's just kind of evolved. So now, like, I had drawn a sticker. I did his new shirt, and I do the graphics for his year one podcast, as well as I think I just did the one with him explaining wrestling to his wife. That was pretty funny. That was a pretty funny request.
Wait, it's just like two pictures though. It's him, his wife, and then Pro Wrestling Explained.
He was like, I need you to make it like the meme. And I'm like, okay, sure. But it was just very random because, like normally as a graphic designer, so he's like, I want you to make a photo. And I'm always like, all right, what, like, you need to really describe what you need from me so that I can just do it. And he was like, I want this meme. And I said, okay. Do you need me to like, because at first I thought he wanted me to like put their heads on the graphic already, and then like 20 minutes later he's like, no, use these pictures. And I'm like, oh my god, these pictures are great. So, but it was pretty funny because I didn't really know what was about to happen when he first asked. But yeah, I mostly just kind of do a lot of graphics for Logan Black. Not that I'm not open to doing graphics for other people.
Like me.
Yes, which we'll talk about afterwards.
Now, who would you say? We all know that Dan the Man is your least favorite on the independent scene. We all know that Finn Balor is your favorite in the major companies. Who's your favorite on the independent scene? Be honest. You don't have
Oh,
to.
hmm. It's a tough one. So many people come to mind, and it's hard for me because I get to kind of be on both sides the of the ring, where somebody will go in the ring and be a complete heel. I'm like, boo, you suck. And then afterwards, they're like, Joanna, I bought a candy bar for you. And I'm like, okay. Like, so it's hard. I've been enjoying a lot of Bobby Orlando's videos. They are a lot of fun. Obviously, I really enjoy. I actually do very much enjoy King of Chaos when he gets in the ring and wrestles. I like Skylar. I love when Skylar gets in the ring. I'm always really excited to see her. Um, who else do I really like? It's hard. It's hard because they're all my friends, so I don't want to be
Here,
like, oh, these are my favorites.
I'll fix this
Um,
for you. Here,
you know, I,
favorite wrestler.
I used to really
Favorite.
enjoy. Huh?
Sorry.
I used to really enjoy watching when the closers would come out. Uh, Brad Hollister, Hammer Tunis, and TKO Ryan, because I just was like in hysterics, and that they would do the most hilarious shit, but then they'd back it up with really good wrestling, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. That was pretty funny. It's Tomahawk too. He was a good wrestler. He is
Yeah.
a wrestler. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he reinvented himself. He's now Iron Rip Bison.
No, I love it though. What he and Perry are doing are great. I love that look on them. They're
It's
both done
cool.
so good.
It's cool to see. Like, I wish that I've known about Pioneer Valley since they started, but unfortunately I didn't. I came in. My first show was the main event. It was Closers versus the who is it? The Kingdom from Ring of Honor at that Warriors
Ah,
show. And I
wow.
enjoyed it, but it was just like everyone's cheering for these people. I don't know anyone. Um, and like, yeah, it was the electricity from that show. The
I
crowd was electric.
I remember when they were uh, New Age Old Time Wrestling. They used to be called New Age Old Time Wrestling. They were not owned by Hammer Tunis, although I was invited to like come watch a show and just kind of see if I liked it. And there were enough people on the show that like I was very comfortable with who was there. And they were like, oh my God, Joanna, like, yay, Joanna's here. And then it changed to Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling. And that was when I got asked to start singing, and that then evolved to helping out more. And so many good matches from PvP. So many good matches. And I remember that it was at the Springfield Mall, right? That match of the closers
Yeah,
and the Kingdom. Yeah, I remember that night. Because again, being on the other side.
it
I
was
remember
the
that.
thing that I had my first interaction with Cypher, and I never understood why everyone hated him. He thought that me and my friend snuck in, but I showed him the tickets that I had, and it was just like, there's only one way to get it. I mean, obviously I could hop like the barricade thing.
I would not have let you hop the barricade. Oh God, no.
Huh?
Let
Oh,
anybody hop the Oh no. I'm on full alert at those mall shows. There was actually a PvP mall show where somebody tried to get in the ring. This very drunk fan tried to get in the ring, and I was in a dress and heels, and I'm like, oh no, you're not. That video is probably up somewhere on YouTube of me
my
being like, nope, I don't think so. And I
my
think that
friend.
incident like made me security guard.
Yeah, you yelled at my friend one time, and I told him, "Don't go in the ring. Like, don't do it." And then I didn't even know who you were. I just like ring announcer lady. That's when I remembered you guys. I never knew your name, and it was back in like I think it was 2018 November, and me and him were there early. It was like a Kelly meet and greet during on that day, And he was like, "Oh, no one's in the ring, and like no one's guarding the area, so I'm just gonna go run the ropes." I'm like, "You're not trained though. Like you're my age. Don't go in there." What does he do? He goes in there anyway. And then the first time he was fine because it was before like the doors open. I mean, it wasn't fine because
No, it wasn't.
And then intermission came, and I'm like, don't go in there, bud. Like just, and then you came out, and I'm like, oh, there he goes. Didn't know that. I'm gonna get thrown out.
I actually, it's funny because a lot of people, like, there have been times where promoters have been like, go tell them to get out of the ring, because they know that I'm very strict about that, because and there's a lot of reasons, and like I've yelled at children, and the moms are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, okay, listen, it's a liability. It is a humongous liability. The kid could get hurt. The minute they get in that ring, it is a liability, and they could get very hurt. And it's now, if your kid gets hurt, you're going to sue us. You're not going to sue the mall. You're not going to sue the building. You're going to sue us. And we don't really need that right now. You're not trained. You can go in and do all the moves from TV, but it's not the same. I've also seen fans get in the ring, and drunk fans get in the ring and break their legs. I've actually seen it happen, which is why I'm very strict about, like, do not get in that ring. I don't care how old you are. Unless a wrestler says, come on in the ring and let's celebrate, don't get in that ring.
Yeah.
The mama moose comes out, because I'm very protective like that. And like, we don't need a lawsuit. Nobody needs to get hurt. Just like the wrestlers. I get very scared when they're in the ring and they're trained.
I feel like an idiot because my first interview was with Nico Silva. I don't know if you watched that one, but it was my first ever interview. And he says, oh, where do you want to do it? We can go on the side of the ring. We can go in the ring. And, like, it just went right through my head. I'm like, oh, damn, I should have accepted that offer to go do it in the ring with him. Or at least stand on the side. The closest thing that I've gotten to is everyone, like, slams on the apron part of it to get hyped up. Or, like, celebrating someone. Or, like, you get a picture with them and you can say, I've never been inside the ropes, which is a documentary thing on TV. That's funny.
Like I said,
I should have accepted that offer to go in the ring, because 2 years.
I would have let you. I would have let you too, because I've been like, "What are you? Oh, he's letting you in. All right, go ahead." It's just it's a safety hazard. It's a safety issue, and it's scary enough seeing those guys get in the ring. And I've even had this conversation with my dad, and I'm like, it's scary seeing these guys get in the ring, and they're trained, and they take bumps and they do stuff. And I'm panicking. Somebody who's not trained, and I work with little kids, so I see how bouncy they are. And they have less restrictions when it comes to bouncing around in a ring than an adult does. And I just don't want to see anybody get hurt is the major thing with people getting, if you're standing on the side of the ring, or you're doing the pounding, or a wrestler says, come on in, we're winning. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But if it's like intermission and you're drunk and you're getting in that ring, get out. Get out.
Yeah, I try to not step over the line. Like, everyone's nice. I mean, not everyone is nice. Like Dan the Man, for instance, or Chris Cannon, or I don't think we'll ever see him at a Pioneer Valley show, but MJF, like, it's just, those are the top 3 realest people in wrestling, in my opinion.
MJF, oh my God. I had to say, it was during a Blitzkrieg show, and they asked me to kind of promote him very quickly during intermission, and if you've ever seen me at a Blitzkrieg show, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and they're like, Joanna, just make an announcement that he's here. And I said his name wrong. I think I said, I don't even remember what I said. I said MGM or something like that. I just mixed the letters up, and I was like, oh my God. And I hear him in the crowd being like, who said my name wrong? And I literally like hid, and all the guys backstage were dying. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I felt so bad. I felt terrible. I've forever been afraid of him.
I wouldn't say I'm afraid of him. Like, he's he's very good at what he does, but he doesn't need to step over the line like he does. Like, he wants to yell at the crowd, insult them. Like, it depends on what he says.
Gotta be the
But he
heel.
doesn't need to go yell at kids for touching him. Like, everyone gets a pat on the back when they go to the ring, whether you're a heel or not. And it's just, you don't need to yell at a kid for just touching you. He don't know any better. Like, he sees everyone else do it. It's kind of like, yeah.
There are some kids that love that though. It amazes me that there are some kids that are flipping him the bird and telling him to f off as much as he's telling them to f off. You know, I've had kids tell me to f off. You
I mean,
know,
I'm kind of mad at myself. I paid $20 just to tell him that I smelled. So it's just like, oh, Jesus. And then I went back to my mom, and she was like, "You should go ask your money back." I'm like, "No, I got a picture with him, but I wasn't expecting. I know he's a dick, but
I curled into this little ball in my high heels and my dress. I was so like, oh my God, I can't believe I said his name wrong because I heard him scream, "Who said my name wrong?" And I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna get fired.
yeah. Back to like what we were talking about with like the ring and stuff. Like, you gotta be aware. I know everyone's just trying to do their job. They're like, everyone's there. They have to play their character in the ring, and then once intermission comes, I mean, they might make a few insulting announcements like, "Come buy my stuff," or like they'll be like, "Hey, it looks like you could use one of these. $20." Or like they try to take your money by making a deal. I've heard that before, and it's just like, that's who they are. That's kind of who they have to be. But like, for instance, Logan Black, he's not. He's definitely like, when he's a heel, he has just he knows how to play his character in the ring. But come intermission, he shakes everyone's hand. He takes pictures. He doesn't yell at anyone. He's just there in the corner selling his stuff. And yeah, definitely, we need more people like him, I think, on the independent.
That's a salesman right there.
Yeah. Just with a bunch of tattoos. The salesman.
There you go. Yeah. Some of the and I get it. Some of those guys are really big on like kayfabe. Is really what it is. Is like, and there are people that go for it. So they're just gonna do what works. If this is what's gonna get them to sell their awesome shirts, do it. I've been in that position where I'm like, "Hi, please buy my stuff." It is so.
Well, do you have any merch in the future? You'd be like, my mom is known as camera lady. I'm known as the future. You'd be the ring announcer lady, or the national anthem, something.
I don't know what I'd be known as, honestly. I'm just kind of all over the place. I have a Society 6 account. I haven't updated it in a while. Things have been stupid crazy. I have been doing a series of mermaids. There is a art challenge going on called Mer-May, and it was created by Tom Bancroft, who was a lead animator at Disney Studios. He worked on Mulan and Lion King and Pocahontas and basically all those golden age. And the concept is basically you're drawing a mermaid every day in May. A prompt goes off if you need an idea. And I'm like, well, I've got nothing else to do, so I'm just going to draw mermaids every day. And people have been really liking that. So I'm sure that once this is over, maybe I'll have some prints of them. I was looking into like like it's stuff that I'm just looking into right now, like keychains and art books and stuff like that. I miss selling. I miss cons. I used to do cons. I miss selling my art at cons. It was kind of what I did. Maybe some other wrestling stuff in the future. I've been speaking with someone about maybe a podcast adventure. I don't know, still talking about it, but I have the feeling that I will be making graphics for it, which is going to be great because I saw some really great comic fonts. So I was like, I'm ready for this. I don't know, just I write for if you're a big comic fan, I write reviews and articles for a website called oncomicsground.com. Actually, one of them got featured by Mad Cave Studios. They asked me to write a why you should read this particular comic, and I wrote it, and I did genuinely like it. It was called Over the Rope, which it was a comic about wrestling in the 90s, and I was like, I'm super down for this, and it ended up being a really good story. And I wrote a very nice article, like a genuine article. I was like, well, there was this thing that was bad, but this thing that was good. And my editor sent it to Mad Cave, and Mad Cave loved it so much that they sent it to the writer, and the writer loved it so much that it went on Twitter, and it was a big, like, oh my gosh. So once comics kind of get back into the groove, I'd like to I'll hopefully have some more articles to write about comics. Otherwise, just kind of chilling, hoping something good comes out of this, Just kind of looking for my niche, other than mermaids.
A few more questions.
Of course.
Has there ever been any like botch moments, whether you're announcing, like you said, the MJF thing, but whether you're announcing someone to the ring or singing the national anthem, or maybe, I don't know, has there ever been any moments like that?
There have definitely been botch moments. I will not lie. I make mistakes too. There has only ever been one time that I blanked on the national anthem, and I've been doing it for years, and there was only one time. I don't know what happened, because if you see me backstage or right before I go out, I'm singing it to myself a couple of times. I will even grab someone and say the lyrics to them. It's just one of those weird singing rituals that I do. I just need you to hear this. Oh, say, can you see both? And they're like, okay, yeah, that's it. And I don't know what happened. I got in the ring. I started singing. Blank. Total and utter blank. Thank God Matthew James kind of whispered the next lyrics to me. But I had blanked so long that I was like, okay, I'm going to start over. And I played it off like, there's no stairs, and I'm in heels. So getting in the ring, I ran out of breath. Whoops. And I just restarted, and everybody was like, hey, she did it. But that is the only time that I've ever botched on the national anthem. And I remember Matt James coming up to me, and he's like, normally when you sing, I tune out. But for whatever reason, this time I was actually paying attention. I was like, thanks. As far as names go, there have been a couple instances where wrestlers have actually asked me to say their names wrong. So I'll do that. There was one Blitzkrieg show we were doing. I don't remember if we were Blitzkrieg at the time or if we were still us versus them. It was still very early in that stage. And I was kind of the lead announcer, and we were at this. It was in Enfield. It was during this Italian food festival, and when I do a show, I don't eat beforehand. I don't eat. I have a cup of coffee, and I don't eat all day, because one, I don't need to be burping while I'm talking. And two, I don't know if you've ever seen some of the dresses that I wear. I don't need a muffin top or anything. I like to, and once the show's over, I'm like, give me all the food. Give me all the food. But and that's more because I used to do theater, so don't eat, don't drink, and I don't know what happened, but I got up there and I said, please enjoy the Italian Sausage Festival. And it didn't really hit me right away. I get off stage and the guys are like, Joanna, do you know what you just said? I was like, what? Like, you called it the Sausage Festival. And I'm like, no, I did not. Like, you totally called it. And they are in hysterics because obviously. So I go back out there to be like, hey, thank you. By the way, this is the food festival. I'm not allowed to eat during a show, so I'm hungry and thinking about sausages, and I can't wait for this to be over to eat. But otherwise, enjoy the food festival. Um, but it just didn't hit me until I went backstage and all the guys are giggling like little schoolgirls. I'm like, what's so funny? Um, there are also times where I've had a show and there was once again a Blitzkrieg show where they were like, the announcer's not here. We need you to announce. And I'm like, the show starts in 5 minutes, right? And they're like, yeah, so get everybody's names, do it. And I'm like, awesome. And I'm going up to people like Hollister and Tunis, who I've known for years, and I'm like, what are your names? And like I'm in the ring, like, just trying to pretend like, yeah, I totally know what I'm doing. And if I mess up, I'm one of those people that's like, yep, I messed up, but I'm cute, and I know I messed up, so let's try this again. I'm not really like, I'll be kicking myself afterwards when I'm backstage, but because of all my years in theater, I'm just on there like, yep, let's go. I messed up. Here we go. On with the show. The show must go on.
Sorry, just another.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Hi, that's okay.
His brother won't wait.
Ugh. Hey.
Well, this has been fun. I mean, I definitely laughed at the Italian sausage.
Oh my
Right?
God. I think it's funnier because I didn't realize what I had said. I had no idea until I see the guys backstage and they're giggling like children. Which, side note, wrestlers are small children.
Wait, was that a wrestling show or it was a food festival?
It was a food festival that had the wrestling show on it as like entertainment.
Is this like a PvP thing?
No, it was Blitzkrieg, but I'm not sure if we were. They all kind of merged into one because before Blitzkrieg we were called Us versus Them. So I can't quite remember if we were still Us versus Them or if we had changed it to Blitzkrieg then. But I just remember being like, hey, whatever, here we go. And then I get backstage and they're all giggling like school children. I was like, what is so funny? And they're like, you really you don't know what you said. And I'm like, what did I say? Oops.
Maybe that should be on a shirt.
It makes so much money off of that. Might be a little inappropriate, but yeah, no. Botches happen. And it happens, man. And
You did say it might be a little inappropriate if you're 11 and up, then you can get the shirt. You're gonna get the reference, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because I've actually made jokes that I want to start bringing swear jars to certain shows because it's like, oh yeah, we're totally fine for kids. And then I'm hearing the F word every 30 seconds. And I'm like, why? But if I get the opportunity to go up and swear, I'm going to swear like crazy. No, I don't know. It's weird, but it happens.
Well, anyway, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. You know that I'm alive and I'm safe.
Yes, I'm so happy. That is the most important thing.
It just went right through my head. I knew it was today. I don't know why I thought it was 6. And then I asked my cousin who just interrupted us. I was like, "What time is it?" It's 5:30. It's 5:45 or something. Oh, I got 15 minutes. I plugged my phone in. Where are you? Are you okay? Are you safe? Is something happened? And it's just like an Amber Alert's gonna go off in like 30 seconds because I'm missing apparently.
But at least you know that there is enough people that care about you that like if something happens,
I know where I can go.
Exactly.
Available. Round table crew for life.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times I'll drive guys are like, I don't have a ride, something happened. I'm like, I got you. You need a ride, let's go. And in that sense, I really am like a wrestling mom. I think there was one show, it was in Mass, and this guy needed a ride to New York. And I'm like, I'm awake. I'll drive you to New York. And I live in Connecticut. So I didn't get home till like 4 a.m. And I was like, we got home safe, so I don't care. As long as everybody's safe, that's what I care most about.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that we got this interview done. I felt bad like a couple weeks ago when I was asked, will you get her on your show? And I'm like, I don't know her very well. I just know she's the ring announcer. And then you started showing up more frequently. I think you're on two, but we'll make it sound like you
No.
on
But
tables.
that's the other thing too is I don't have a problem. I mean, there are and I've had this conversation with a lot of the guys is sometimes I don't, even though people know who I am, I don't really always consider myself part of the show. I consider the wrestlers and the promoters part of the show, and I happen to be there and everybody knows me, so I don't ever feel bad if somebody's like, why would I want to talk to Joanna when I have Logan Black and Bobby Orlando and Skylar and Smart Mark and just gonna Brad Hollister and Nico and all these other huge names that I could drop. Like they all should come first. And then when you get to me, you get to me. I'm never ever offended by that. The guys actually get more offended when I'm like, oh, I'm not part of this. I'm like, yes, you are. Like you've been here long enough that you're part of this. I'm like, eh.
Well, thank you for your time. One more time, I'll say it again. Thank you.
Yes. You're so welcome,
thank
honey.
you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.